Hello, ma'am. So today I will be interviewing you about your circumstance and your work abroad. We have here 7 questions. And the first question is, what pushed you to work abroad and why?
I was called as a missionary under the 1000 Missionary Movement to work in South Korea as a missionary teacher. And so I accepted the call because I knew it was God's calling for me.
Okay, thank you. Now, the second question is, what are your unforgettable experiences, either it is negative or positive, while living and working abroad?
One of the best experiences I had was when God taught me how to speak their language. I didn't know how to communicate with people. It was difficult for me to talk to them, but God is so amazing that He taught me how to communicate with them and how I could help them. There was even one time when I was distributing some pamphlets about Jesus coming at the bus terminal of Galche, South Korea, and I met a man. He accepted the tract, and he asked me about Babylon thing, about Constantine thing. I actually didn't know how to explain it in Korean, the answers in Korean, but God is so amazing. He taught me how to answer him. Maybe I might not have given him the exact answers to his questions, but I was so happy that God gave me the words to answer him and to give him answers to his questions about Babylon, about who Constantine was. And so I'm so thankful about that. I could never forget how God helped me to do the ministry through His wisdom, even in my little capacity.
Okay, thank you. You have a wonderful experience there. Now let's proceed to the third question. Did you ever experience feeling like a stranger in your own country and family?
I never experienced feeling a stranger in my country.
When you got home?
Oh, when I got home?
Yes.
No, I never. I was even very excited to come home because I knew Philippines is my home country and my home is always my home.
Okay, so they said there's no place like home. Now let's proceed to the fourth question. What are your goals in life and are you closer to reaching them?
My only goal is to fulfill what my purpose is in life. I knew before I was born that God already had a purpose for me, and my goal is to look for that purpose and accomplish that purpose. Going abroad and answering my call as a missionary in South Korea maybe was one of the answers to finding my purpose in life. But I knew that my goal and my purpose does not stop there. So while I'm still living, I still have my breath, I still have my life, my goal is to still fulfill that purpose that God has for me.
Okay, so what is that purpose? Is that to work for God or to preach the gospel?
It is to be His instrument to bring more souls to His kingdom.
Okay, thank you. And let's proceed to number 5. When you were abroad, how do you plan your return home?
Going back to the Philippines from my missionary field was not an easy decision. I had to pray over it for a month before I could finally make up my decision or make up my mind that I would really come home, because the church that I was working with and working for asked me to stay to do more mission, but I also made a promise at a certain school here in the Philippines, and it's still a missionary work. So both were missionary places, and it was hard for me to decide which way to go, which missionary place to serve. But I asked God, Lord, please guide me, because I didn't want to make my own way. I wanted it that if I would go home, I wanted it that is God's plan. That is God's plan for me. Or if I would stay, I wanted to make sure that it is God's plan for me to stay, so that whatever difficulties I might or may find along my way, I would never regret it, because I have traveled the path that God has for me. So coming back home to the Philippines, returning to the Philippines wasn't an easy decision, but I brought it to God, and through the Bible, God opened the answer for me that He really wanted me to go home to serve and fulfill the promise that I said in a certain school to work with that school.
Okay, thank you. Now let's proceed to question number 6. What kind of life do you want for yourself after you overseas journey?
Yeah, I still want to live a missionary life. Wherever I may be, whether I was still in abroad or I was still abroad or whether I am here now in the Philippines, I still want God to help me have a missionary life. Because once a missionary, I want to be always a missionary. Not by my own strength, but by God's grace, mercy, and blessings for me.
Yes, okay. Once a missionary, always a missionary. Now, let's proceed to the question number
Okay.
7, the last question. Now, what do you want to say for everyone and your fellow Filipinos who wish to work abroad?
Living your own country, your own culture, and staying with people with different culture from yours is not easy. It's very challenging. However, if you have trodden that path, if you have chosen that path to go abroad for God's glory, for the good of humanity, for your family, I would like to ensure you that the Lord will bless it if it is His will. So you may face difficulties and hardships, but never forget that you have God. Wherever you may be away from home, but when you're close to God, you're still within the family of God. And whenever maybe you will feel that your love from the family is far, but as long as you're close to God, you will always feel love. So whenever you feel empty, whenever you feel like you miss people, you miss home, you miss your family, you miss your country, just keep on connecting to God. You will feel the emptiness that you feel.
Okay, so I want to call this one that you said. Wherever you go, or wherever you may be, you still belong to the family of God.
Amen.
Okay, so thank you for that time. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your wonderful answers. May God bless you.